You know your Suns fan better than I do. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is definitely going to be a bit of a different game, I want to say, because like the panel pointed out, this Wind Ranger is a pretty rare occurrence. This TI, I don't even know if has it been played more or less.
I haven't
any
seen
game.
almost
I think this is the
them.
first game I personally see it. It might have had a game or two, but it's pretty uncommon. Jabs is playing an offlane Weaver. I think this may be the first time on the main stage we see that as well, or in this stage of the tournament anyway. So yeah, I think Talon are really coming in with something special here. For BetBoom, maybe it's a little bit more, tried and true for them, standard stuff. Pure on Tidehunter, I think this hero has fallen off a bit, but he's really good at this one. One of his favorites, and always happy to see Save play Muerta. That's a treat for me.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the things to watch for here. And of course, as you're sort of talking about, how much can GPK get done on this Dazzle in the mid lane? We heard Moon already talk about the fact that this Windrunner is going to be a nice answer of, you pop the Windrun, then you can't reapply the Poison Touch. But already a little bit of a battle of brewing as they sneak on in and get the Bounty Rune. Nicely done, Jabs.
I pulled one on him. I guess this is going to result in is this a 2-for-2 trade now? Yeah, so without that steal, that would have been a 3-for-1. Some decent pressure on the Nightfall here. But it'll back off.
Does have to take the long walk around, or just going to TP back over. That makes a lot more sense there. Already 3 heroes up on the top side of the map that will set up for just poor old 23 Savage alone down bottom, who did change it over to 23savage.cringe. Should point that one out too.
Isn't that everyone's sponsor though? When you think about it, isn't everybody just sponsored by Cringe to one or to a smaller or to a small extent at the very least? I don't know. I feel like these nicknames that the players have as their sponsorships when they're not putting sponsors in there. Sometimes I just wonder, you put it in there and it's like there's 2 people in the world that understand this and there's like 1 million people that get to see it. So like, okay, this is like the most internal joke you can possibly have. But
that's what Dota players like.
At least I know what Cringe is, okay? But some of the other things that people have at the end of their names, I have no idea what it means, but,
Perfectly fine here. I'm curious a little bit. You're talking about this Jabs Weaver pairing together with the Earth Spirit. Is this going to be a situation where he's going to be rolling around a lot towards mid, trying to make some moves happen? What do you see Q's role in this game being?
Yeah, I think he has a decent amount of freedom because the lane matchup Weaver has here in the Sven Venge aren't exactly a kill threat as long as he's playing on full health. First of all, they're going to have to spend gold on detection to even connect on him in the first place, but even if they do, he should be able to stay alive and poke and prod and get some CS here or there. And that's the kind of hero you want to lane with when you're Earth Spirit. You want to have the option of rotating. I think the worst thing for this hero as a position 4 is it's not a very strong laner, but Weaver kind of compensates for that quite well.
Okay.
But the worst thing is when you're pinned as this hero. If you're stuck top because your offlaner is so dependent on having a second hero in lane, I think it feels very bad a lot of the time. Not the case either. So I would agree. Q is free to roam mid. Moonmeander was talking about that as a possible play for the Wind Ranger to get kills, but he could also look for a gate play bottom, where a connection together with Cold Feet could be an interesting move. He sees that opportunity.
Definitely something to watch for there. Already seen a ton of those rotations through those twin gates. And of course, Spectre thought of as a hero that definitely can get roamed on at those early goings, but also can make some moves happen around that level 6. We'll see how much they're going to be able to sort of deny out some of this experience. Pure already on this Tidehunter, trying to gain a little bit of momentum as 11-3 versus the 8-2.
Yeah, this is a totally free Tide lane, I would say. There's absolutely nothing stopping him. You can see they're even playing aggressive here.
Right on top of 23 and standing still. The couple of right clicks coming from Save, not quite enough to get the kill. You can see that pressure, it hurts.
It really is a kind of interesting setup that we have in the side lanes because both offlaners have such a good time here that I think as much as we talked about Earth Spirit's ability to rotate, I think Save has the same luxury here because Tide is never going to die to Spectre AA, right? Like this lane it's not powerful. It wasn't picked to win the lane. It was picked for in more of a macro sense. So Pure will be happy to be left alone if there's ever the right opportunity for Save. I guess he can't really gank mid at the very least for Talon, right? Like if Save disappears, you feel very safe as the Wind Rangers. You can also always just Wind run away. But the top lane, coming in with a silence, all of a sudden Jabs could be vulnerable.
Definitely. That's something that they've got to watch for as Nightfall throws out a stun, just secures that CS for himself. They're already starting to do a little bit of pressure onto this, and in fact, a roll onto Toronto Tokyo.
Well,
doesn't quite connect.
All right, that was cool. That was 0% spell accuracy from both teams. I guess the great cleave from Sven did hit. So if you want to count that, it was a little bit of a connection, but...
Well, down bottom, a little bit better spell accuracy is Ollie maybe going to give it up, and yes, indeed, first blood drawn by Save on that Muerta.
It was just a matter of time, right? I think playing AA in this lane is exceptionally difficult. You need to always keep your distance, but if you ever get caught by a dead shot into calling combo, I actually don't even know if dead shot was a part of that play, but you get gushed, just overwhelmed, and Spectre offers absolutely no line of defense for you, so only quite the challenge here for them to stay afloat in that bottom lane. And overall, all three lanes going quite well for BetBoom. We talked about that counter pick mid with the Wind Ranger. Sure, she's not being pressured by the Dazzle, but she's not stopping him either. So GPK's game's going great.
They can turn it back around. Nightfall, he's out too far, pops the Fairy Fire, able to get some separation and now secure himself back up there to the top side. But the region, they have nothing. They're just chilling here.
Honestly, this is one of those situations where it might have almost...
Oh, here you go.
Okay, he has a salve on the way. If he didn't have a salve connecting at that time, I think it might have almost been better off dying, you know? So you just come back and have your resources and you can play lane. Because effectively right now, he's not a hero either, right? He's just sitting there with nothing to offer. But now, healing up, should be able to get a little bit of a foothold here again. And I suppose he's doing slightly better than 23, but I don't think there's any meaningful difference here between any of the lanes, really, except that one kill.
It does sort of have that feeling, though, that Sven much more of the hero that wants to sit back and try and farm, whereas these more recent Spectres going for the Urn builds want to get active.
Yeah. It's nice to see. It's a bit of a blast from the past, honestly. This Urn build used to be really popular many years ago. And now with that Shadow Step change, it's becoming more popular again. Back then, obviously, Spectre only had the Haunt ability as her ult, which is a long cooldown, but despite that, people were still buying Urn. So now that you're available, I want to say more than twice as often, it's just an absolute no-brainer to pick this up on that hero.
Makoto is going to spot Save, goes in for the focus fire. There's still a DD on Save. Couple more hits, the poison touch. Can they bring him down? Save is going to die, and Makoto even gets away with that one.
Yeah. No Grave available. You don't skill that at this point for a mid Dazzle, so not surprising. And Save definitely wasn't counting on it either, but just nice rotation, nice reaction there from Q to be in the right place at the right time, getting themselves on the board. I want to say a relatively quiet start overall, right? We've got 2 kills minute 7, but this is probably a game that is going to be relatively slow from the side of BetBoom. And Talon, all right, well, they're trying to poke at Pure. Says that's really cute, guys. Just keep trying.
He literally just walks it off, taking no damage. The Perseverance still at Healing Lotus, pops the stick charges, and yeah, he's perfectly fine. I mean, this is the thing, really, is that it feels like this giant watermelon down here is just going to be chilling the entire game, and it's going to be up to a bunch of other heroes to make moves to get anything done. A few stacks, Wisdom Runes traded off 1 apiece, and as you mentioned, a slow start. But likely these level 6s that they come around either from the Spectre or, you know, eventually also the Earth Spirit coming out. It's going to be a lot of damage thrown.
Yeah, and this Radiant lineup is kind of a classic combination, I want to say, where you have AA plus 1 global hero, because any sort of connection from a Shackle Shot or from a Rolling Boulder can suddenly turn into an overwhelming amount of damage for any of the cores of BetBoom. As safe as Tide is now, I don't think Pure is just going to have a clean game. Oh, Q. Okay. Interesting setup.
Kicks one back into the focus fire and then going to TP away. Q recognizes he's not going to live if he doesn't get out, so they find one. Can they get another? Onto GPK, but Save comes in with the calling, and that's enough to make sure that this Dazzle does not get brought down. Makoto, another rune that's going to be denied from GPK.
But this is probably going to be the state of this game for quite a while. I think BetBoom's best play in the game right now is to just focus a lot on stacking. I think you have both Tide and Sven that really want big stacks whenever possible, and playing aggressive with your heroes is really difficult because of the massive counterplay potential. You always need to account for an extra Shadow Step. You're always going to need to account for the massive mobility that both Earth Spirit and Wind Ranger have, so probably just better off taking it easy a little bit and letting Pure do this, right? Have the support stacking. Pure can push the tower with Meteor Hammer. He's the safest hero on the map. And then keep building up that nice last hit differential that you're starting to create here. I'm really surprised they're not stacking anything, actually.
It feels like they're putting more emphasis right there. You saw the rotation over to try and pressure the Spectre a little bit. But as you're saying, I mean, Spectre's still going to get her farm, although this could be good. Not going to get it. Nightfall not there with the stun. They had the follow-up. And so easily getting, okay.
Oh, well,
a lot more people show up and Spectre is suddenly there right on top of Nightfall, but look at the turn! Destroys him. Makoto shows up a bit late, still manages to find one kill. Pure chasing in, has Ravage at the ready. BetBoom brought everybody.
Yep.
Talon trying to get out with jabs, doesn't quite have the mana. Sakuchi to escape. Oh! Connection. Save finds him from downtown, and well, BetBoom, they brought more.
Damn, what a nice shot. Especially against Weaver, right? It was after Shikuchi went off, he still just barely clipped him there. And that's honestly kind of a big, important kill for BetBoom to get on the way out, because this was starting to look like a nice moment for Talon, you know, like it's hardly surprising that Talon seem to be pulling a little bit ahead in these fights if Tide shows up late and doesn't get the Ravage off, which was the case there. It's just easier for them to connect their heroes and land some easy snipes, but yeah, getting that one on the way out for save, really nice. Going to close him in on level 6. Going to see if he will choose to skill pierce the Veil. We've seen Muertes take different approaches as position 4s, whether they take that or not. Obviously, one of the big parts of Pierce the Veil is also the fact that it's a basic dispel, which has a little bit of a use here against the Urn, but slows.
This is going to be the nice turnaround. Does he get the time lapse off though? Jabs.
Oh, 1 second cooldown.
That was really unfortunate.
Oh, literally.
He played that really well too, running back outside of the silence range of the ghosts. But couldn't quite get it. And yeah, you know, you talk about that holding onto the Ravage too. You would think at this point you would want to make some type of a move with Talon, but with Ravage up, you just can't really do it. They've already lost their tower. It's not easy to take any of these tier 1s.
And Pure is just going to keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
I think this is what you do as Tide in this game. And if you get killed, so be it. Because I think a rotation to kill Tide right now probably takes 3 to 4 heroes, and it will free up the rest of the map. It will give you a lot of options for your Sven, maybe farms a little bit more aggressively, get some extra camps, and just offset the little bit of a cost it is to have you die. So yeah, again, I keep keeping my eyes on these missing stacks. I find this to be very unusual. I know BetBoom as a team are very aggressive and focus a lot more on being oppressive to the opponent, but it does feel like a little bit of an oversight to not at least take some advantage of the fact that
Makoto is not afraid apparently of GPK there, but I mean, this is the thing, is that if you're not making stacks, you have to make moves like this as BetBoom, and we'll see if it ends up paying off, because it looks like Talon want to contest this tower. The roll through, kick back, they already get the Ice Blast on him, and well, that is the problem. You think you're tanky until you get kicked back in the face.
Yeah, I said it's going to take a 3 or 4 hero rotation to kill Tide. Well, if he's next to your tower, it's hardly a rotation, and that is how you kill him. You just land all these spells. Pure obviously has no magic resistance right now. He will probably be building a pipe, I would imagine, after this Soul Ring. There's just so much random magic damage you can block from your teammates. You know, Dagger, some Spectre, all of Earth Spirit spells, Ice Blast, Power Shot, even Shikuchi, honestly, like everyone in the enemy team has meaningful magic damage.
Right.
So I think it's just a gimme here.
Well, and I feel like Pure after that kill is probably not going to be right-clicking towers and instead going to be using the Meteor Hammer.
Yeah.
A little bit of an overextension by him, not respecting the magic damage coming out from Talon. And Jabs going straight into a Lincoln Sphere, so he's trying to continue to play this pesky hero that's not easy to catch.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how good this build actually is in this game. Like, so what can you block? You can block Sven Stun, you can block Venge Swap. You can't block Deadshot or the Silence, so Muerta is actually very good against you regardless of which items you buy, except BKB for the catch. You can block Gush, which you don't want to. You'd rather block something else, and of course the Poison Touch. So, I mean, maybe it's just a matter of feeling free on the map. Obviously, we know Talon, they like taking games late game, they like having jabs scale, and obviously this is a feels good item on Weaver for a couple of reasons. The mono region's really nice. You can use Shukuchi to farm. And
another one. They find him. Pure that time did get the Ice Blast on him. Can they chase him down? It looks like it. Power shot. Is that enough?
Not
he's
quite.
tickling down, and no, he's going to be able to survive through it.
Was that power shot max charged? It felt like that
I didn't
could
think
have
it
been a
was.
little bit more, but still a 2K lead for BetBoom. They're just getting more out of the map right now. Obviously, we've been talking a decent amount about the Sven and the Tide, but Dazzle is always this hidden hero, I want to say almost, where it's like, you know, he's just minding his own business. He's got 1 assist, slowly but steadily. Oh, Sven is really farmed. Well, guess what? Dazzle has almost the same CS. Just spamming out with the Shadow Wave to farm effectively. He's almost going to have the Ags now.
That's
100 away.
disgusting. It's going to do so much in these fights, I feel like.
Yeah. The good news for Talon is they have Ice Blast, right? So it's one way of preventing Dazzle from getting this major burst heal that he can get with Shallow Grave on the targets. We've seen a couple of games this tournament where it's just like, okay, Dazzle just burst healed someone 800. Not going to be the case with Ice Blast on you, of course. The Grave can delay your death, but you're most of the time not going to fully survive, at the very least.
And Makoto now picking up a Wisdom Room for himself, trying to build up those Ancients. It feels like it's going to be on him to find that Dazzle after like a Haunt or something, right? Because Spectre's not going to be able to get it alone, although this is too easy. They move in, they find Pure. Are they going to be able to bring him down? He's really close to the angle. Q gets up close to him, but it's not enough. Pure walks it off. Only level 1 Ice Blast.
That actually looked like Talon were not fully committing to that with what they had. I think maybe they were expecting him to die a little bit easier, but yeah, just narrowly surviving that one. Pure getting away with murder, and he's now going to get a cloak. So next time it's going to be way harder.
Yeah.
He's just a 3 gold away from that. And the good news for Tide as well, you know, you take barely any damage when you're farming, so he can actually just go and play jungle. He doesn't even need to go back to base despite having 200 health. He's even going top to clear out a little bit here. With the Ring of Health as well as the Meteor Hammer. That HP region of 20 next to this tower, very quick. And now he's going to go to the Mighty Mind.
Oh, it's
get
so
some nice
good.
extra region there.
Look at how strong he is. He's so mighty.
Yeah, 26 HP region up here.
I mean, the other thing that I'm just thinking about is that you've got this Aghanim Scepter now done on Dazzle. It feels as if Talon are just comfortable sitting back, getting their farm on a little bit, but at some point, I mean, this is the type of play that's going to be scary. GPK rolled upon, silence, walk back into the Ice Blast. That is not the way they wanted it. GPK will get the Grave off, but the DOT coming through, they're going to end up losing at least Q, but with everybody else falling, I mean, it's way too much magic damage.
I think Ollie did have vision of the Venge in that whole situation, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of next level if he actually overshot the Ice Blast on purpose to hit on the swap, right? 'Cause that's what ended up happening was Venge was trying to reposition the Dazzle away, and if they dodge the Ice Blast, Dazzle does not die there, but
that was pretty sick.
That was a really nice execution from Talon. And yeah, BetBoom also expended Ravage there, right? It's one thing to lose the fight 3-1, but now one of your key abilities on cooldown for 2 minutes. In the past, you'd be like, oh, okay, you know, Spectre doesn't have Haunt, so what's really going to happen? Well, guess what? Spectre is ready again to go in 5 seconds. So,
it's so silly.
Really got to be careful around the map here if you're BetBoom and position your heroes well. Venge has a key role to play here.
And you saw that too, right? Like they're running down, they see the 23 Savages down there at that point at like 800 health, and they just can't get onto him. You don't have this global presence. Jabs runs into Toronto, Tokyo, they come through the gate. Suddenly, Spectre is back in the midst of all of them, haunts away, gets out of trouble, save, gonna pop Pierce the Veil, looking for a few more hits. After already losing the Venge, they're gonna lose the Muerta too. Talon are all over BetBoom right now, one step ahead.
Yeah, I love the way Talon are playing this. Just recognizing that as long as it doesn't turn into a full-on team fight, right? Yeah. What they don't want is this 5-on-5 engagement where everybody's in a good position to chain their spells together and take advantage of the Ravage. As long as it's skirmishes, you just have such an insane lineup for this style of play.
Jump in, caught though, and that is what they needed. That's Blink Dagger on Nightfall, so well played.
That is a huge kill. Gives them a little bit of breathing room too. Now 30 seconds without Shadow Step. Gives them an opportunity to maybe push out the lanes a little bit more. Obviously, heroes that usually, especially the Tide as we've seen in this game, that want to push out a little bit further. Oh well, at least he got the Blade Mail off.
Yeah, silver linings, right? He knows how to push his buttons. No, it's definitely been a little bit back and forth now. So in your estimation, there's been a lot of talk about how strong Spectre is. What do you think of that matchup against the Sven as we get later and later? Because there is eventually Silver Edge and all the rest of it, but it always just feels like the pace that Spectre plays at is too much.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique matchup to really look at from the carry versus carry matchup, because I think the determining factor in this, more so than many carry matchups, is the supporting cast. It's about Sven obviously falls victim to being kited, right? So if you have the right defensive items or the right defensive heroes protecting the Spectre, she can just kite out his BKB and then overwhelm him, right? On the other side, for the Sven, you want to have teammates that set you up for that quick burst, and that's where someone like Tide is actually really good, because he can blink in, lock down the backline, and Sven gets to isolate his target and get that quick burst. Also, Venge is nice for this, right? Swap out one hero, you blast them with the Sven burst without the enemy heroes being able to connect. So I don't know. I think in this case, both teams have what you would like in that late game situation. Maybe a little bit of a wild card could come out from a Weaver Axe. Do we dare say it later? That would be a sick save for Spectre, because that's one hero Sven cannot, you know, kill in 2 hits. Spectre will eventually be too big for that, so Weaver might have a good shot at getting a save. But I don't think Jabs is going to buy it. He just wants to get it for free from Roche, like every greedy core player ever. You know.
It's a classic, oh, for sure. I mean, and the way Talon play too, right? Like waiting for 3rd, 4th Roche, why not? You know they're going to get there. And speaking of which, we do get the Midas completed now on cue.
Oh.
20 minutes, you're ready. I think I saw a little part of your soul just leave your body there. Hope you're okay.
No, it's good. Everyone gets to be a core nowadays. Cool. Except Toronto Tokyo. He does not get to be core. I mean, maybe he'll get it. You know.
For now, at least, a little bit broke as a joke. 23 Savage underneath the tower. Can they get there to help in time? Jump forward, half HP, Blade Mail out. Nightfall dying to the Blade Mail, and now the Ravage. That will be enough to get the kill. Beard, Jabs, backing out Toronto Tokyo. He's going to be the first one dead on BetBoom. Can they find any more? Makoto onto Pure. Still looking for the turn, though. The jump in. Nightfall destroys him! Just like that, he falls. They did not anticipate Nightfall coming back into this fight. Ooh, boy, they're strong.
Yeah, and you could... okay, hang on. Is this even over? Pure?
I mean, Ollie, stay still. It's fine. They won't see... Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, wait, Jabs got involved, too.
Wait, he went back in? Jabs caught in trouble, trying to escape. They know he's up here.
Being invisible is really good, though.
It is very strong, but the dead shot Beard DOT, it's not there. Jabs barely surviving.
Any sentry or any dust there, and they also lose Jabs, but he manages to get out there. Sometimes invisibility is invincibility. It was pretty close to not being invincibility there, though. But yeah, I think Talon maybe need to keep in mind here that they have 4,000 dead gold, right?
Oh, yeah.
Their Earth Spirit has a Midas, and their AA has a Midas. So when this Spectre gets jumped and you're TPing in to help, you don't have that Glimmer Cape. You don't have that Force Staff that a lot of the time supports will be able to bring to the table and swing things around. It's one-man Torming time for GPK.
Come on, Ice Blast him, please. Is that biased casting? I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or not.
It's not biased if you don't want it for the team to win. You just want it for fun.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's
that makes
fine.
sense.
If it's a good time, everybody will be cheering for it.
That's always a good time with Tormy time.
Ah, yeah. Oh, cute. Okay.
Gets stunned, but 23 Savage shows up. Nightfall swaps in his carry.
Oh,
it's fine. Don't worry. He's perfectly okay. Backs out of there just in time.
All right, that looked like that could have potentially got scary after the Shackle shot landed, but didn't really have enough damage in the tank.
Tokyo gets hit by that dagger, and I think they still had vision from the Spectral Dagger as that smoke came out. So Talon, understanding that BetBoom are going for a move, are going to back away, spread out to the other side of the map, and just get themselves a little bit of a Wisdom Rune as they head away.
Almost completed Radiance plus level 15 here for 23, so that's a huge upgrade for him. Let's see who gets the shard on the Radiant side.
Moving it down, and Ollie.
That is probably the best one they could have got. I think the Earth Spirit, I mean, the Earth Spirit one's kind of cool here too, right? If you get jumped on a hero and you get to have that secondary save, Spectre can get pulled away a little bit by Geomagnetic Grip, but the AA one's really nice. Just getting that stun when you connect your combos, it gives you that little bit of extra time to just stick on your target that you're connecting with. And all right, BetBoom have bigger plans. Dazzle is so good for this too.
Yeah, very, very nice. Ollie not opting to throw any Ice Blast down that direction. But yeah, this was always going to be a Aegis that they gave away. Can they get the timing right? Oh! You're crazy! You're crazy! What are you doing? But they get
he got
out. Oh, wow.
I love that they tried that, though. I think that's such a cool play. He went a little bit early, though. He has the vision from the Ice Blast lingering there, and he knows, obviously, maybe he was hoping that he could just jump in and steal it, didn't account for the stun, right?
Oh, yeah.
He might not have accounted for the stun from the Ice Blast, so he actually had to wait a little bit longer. If that was no shard on AA, he might have just stolen the Aegis, so really unfortunate for Talon that they got a shard on their AA. I don't know. It would have been a sick steal.
Well, I'm sure he'll try again. I feel like this is one of those games that, like, 1,000-goal lead, 24 minutes in, everybody's kind of just sitting back by look, saves queuing up a -2. This one might be going the distance.
Yeah. If you start buying Midases on your supports against Talon, aren't you just playing Talon's game, though? Is any team in the world more experienced in 90-minute games than this team?
That's a fair point.
I don't know.
BetBoom not ones to go back from a challenge, though.
The thing that I think there's still a little bit uncertainty about is Dazzle. Obviously, you want to say that the hero falls off, right? Because you have this old mindset of how the hero used to work.
Right.
But I don't know what the hero's true ceiling is in like an 80-minute game. Like, is he still going to feel as powerful as a 6-slotted Windranger or a 6-slotted Weaver? Like, is he going to... Is the pacing eventually going to be a problem? Okay, hang on.
Well, they find another. They get the Grave off. Toronto Tokyo
Big
not going to be stunned. Ice Blast going to connect onto a couple. Can they bring him down? Q in, magnetize out. Jabs trying to buy some extra space. They pop the dust. He backs away. So no more reapplying magnetize, and Jab's going to have to time-lapse and run out. At the end of the day, it's only going to be a 1-for-1 on these supports.
And Pure with a good call there to just hold the Ravage. There were multiple BKB heroes. He couldn't really have gotten much out of that. A very defensive build from Jabs, right? He has Lincolns and BKB, but I think it's understandable. There's just too many problems in fights. If your mindset is that you want to get involved, and he wanted the Lincolns anyway, then BKB was probably the obvious choice afterwards. And that obviously means he's not that big of a threat yet, and now he gets to just fully itemize damage for the rest of the game, because he has the defensive items that you would want in 20 minutes too.
Yeah, that part is really nice. I think the thing that's interesting about the way Talon are playing this too is you've got this Sven that kind of has to play around this God strength. So while this window is out where they win a fight, sort of, they force out a bunch of abilities, they can't punish afterwards on BetBoom.
Very true. And they just... Yeah, Talon are just going to do their usual stuff. All right, interesting. 23 queuing up a Wraith Band here. Obviously, we're past the 25-minute mark, so this becomes the most value for money item in all of Dota, probably.
Wait, what the hell?
Right now, but we've seen a couple of players do this a little bit, and
he bought it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably good. It's a relatively... I mean, you can sell it for half, right? So how much gold are you really investing?
I mean, that's the first time that I feel like I've seen that on a carry before. It's pretty cool. Oh, I'm stoked to see it. Another one of those builds that's like either Herald or Pro Player. You never know.
Yeah. Then you watch the rest of the replay, and then you have a pretty good idea.
Pure throws out the dead in the water. Will get hit by Spectral Dagger, backs out. Throws another dagger onto Nightfall and GPK.
He was just pinging the anchor like, 23, what the fuck, man? Just help me out. He's just walking with the anchor behind him. The Spectre was just looking at the anchor for like 3 seconds before he reality'd away.
There's a creep camp there, Synderen, okay? I know that you're a support player. You don't understand farming, but...
I get it, but then reality away right away, you know? He was literally just sitting behind him, just chilling, you know? That's pretty funny.
11 to 10. He's setting up for something here. GPK.
Yeah, bounty or Wisdom Rune in 10 seconds, so...
Right on top of this Dazzle, waiting for him to step a little bit out of position. Do need to be careful. They don't have jabs. Pure is here too. 23 Savage gets hit. The Blade Mail, look at the damage out onto him, but he's surviving. Immediately turns. He's still down low. That's going to be one dead. Can they find any more? Silence for a long time on a Q. He's hexed after. GPK down to about half HP as Weaver continues the chase. So will Q. Continue to throw out the magnetize, the force forward, and he goes down one time. Could not manage to get off the shallow grave, but Nightfall is just slapping away at the rest of these heroes. 3 dead for only 1. Picked the wrong fight.
It's relatively even though, because Talon did get both Wisdom Runes, right?
Okay.
The reason Jabs was late was that he was stealing the one on the Dire side, but yeah, and you lost Aegis too. So essentially, it kind of was 2 for 3, but obviously GPK doesn't truly die there. A pretty close fight. I'm really surprised that 23 didn't just get blown up there, right? The way that fight started, it looked like he wasn't even going to press a button. But
Makoto, dead in the water. Nightfall waiting. Jumps, stun, and more than enough for the finish. That's a minute gone without a buyback.
Yeah, that's a good kill. Probably not getting the tier 2 off of it, though, with the glyph coming out and heroes respawning, but it's a very nice extra bit to get out of that. And with that kill, they obviously the big winners of the last 2-minute engagement we've seen here. So, yeah. Let's see what they're going to do with it now. Obviously, I guess something we need to talk about a little bit here is BKB duration, right? Because they've been picked up early this game. The Sven has an early BKB, the Wind Ranger has an early one, and obviously we saw the early one on Weaver as well. Once these start going down to 6 seconds, I'm trying to wrap my head around who this really favors more, right? Because one side has Tide, who loves when BKBs are short, because then he can pump fake his Ravage, and then he only needs to survive for a few seconds before he gets massive value out of it. On the other side, Earth Spirit, Shackle Shot, you know, everything, basically everything all your heroes have is just really good against heroes that aren't BKB'd. So the fact that, I guess the fact that Talon have 2 versus just the 1 of BetBoom is a little bit of a BetBoom favorite thing here. Right. The net worth value, so to speak, of the item is dropping significantly on the side of Talon, whereas for the Sven, you know, he has to buy it. He ultimately, this hero in late game, it kind of is a one and done, right? You jump in, you kill someone, you reset, and then you won't have BKB anyway. But for Weaver and Wind Ranger, who are more about the staying power, having these drop to 6 is going to be quite meaningful.
I mean, I think that this also is one of those situations where late game can get strange too, right? You've got Mjolnir procs. The vision, I feel like, from all these Ice Vortexes, if they can kind of set up in an area and breaking Blink Daggers randomly, it could be really frustrating to play against. But we'll have to see what the setups are and what the vision's like. Of course, always really important in these fights. Aghanim Scepter done on Wind Ranger. As we're hitting that 30-minute mark, Neck Roche capable of respawning in 50 seconds. Waiting for the timer on that as Spectre almost done with the Manta.
Yeah, and when does 23 start to hit critical mass is the question here. Because we've seen he definitely is very killable for now for the BetBoom side, but once he gets this Manta plus 1 more item, maybe it'll be a bit tricky. Obviously also looking at the level 20 talent, which is going to be a big help getting that 350 health there. Definitely going to be the choice in this game against such a burst-heavy lineup. So I wonder if this Orchid that he's eyeing up now is the right choice. I think he specifically wants to get it because he's playing against 2 saves, right? The Venge as well as the Dazzle, especially Shallow Grave, is super annoying. But I'm a little bit worried it might be too offensive of an approach and that he needs more health, either a Scotty or a Heart to, or even a Butterfly, right? Because Sven does not want to buy MKB this game. Or well, he should against Wind Ranger, but the hero genuinely doesn't want to buy it, and Nightfall isn't even eyeing it up, right? So he might get Nullifier instead if there's no Butter on spec. You know, we'll see.
An interesting last couple of minutes here. You can see both teams smoked up. We're waiting for somebody to step a bit too far forward. Talon opted to place that ward up on the high ground as Roche respawns, and now we're going to re-smoke. So their movement as Roche was a relatively quick one. We'll see what this ends up looking like. Jabs nearby, the rest of his team can gather in together with the smoke if they want, but you got to imagine, oh, they're getting this quick. This is going rather rapidly. Talon, are they going to realize what's happening? Roche is about to fall, and they are going to get it for themselves. Do they take the fight after?
Oh, Sven TP's top. He's actually going to show here. So when Nightfall shows top, if they in any way could connect, okay, it's just a full-on evacuate.
Yeah, they're all
5 TPs out from BetBoom. They are not going to give them any opportunity to find a pick. So nicely done. They just sniped that out, giving the Aegis to the Dazzle here, which makes the next fight for Talon that much trickier, because usually the way they would like to engage fights is to kill that Shallow Grave, but now you can't even take that out. So few tricky minutes ahead for the Southeast Asians here. Wow, that was really hard to say. That's tongue
You got
twister,
there, though. It's very good.
Thank you so much.
That. I was thinking, you're talking about like other items that we could see for Spectre. I also like the idea of maybe even going for the Aghanims later. We've seen sometimes where that hasn't worked out, but getting a Haunt, that way you can like pick and choose your targets, feels like it'd be really nice for Talon eventually.
Yeah, Axe might kind of be a best of both worlds thing here, also because of the health, right? Like,
yeah.
As we talked about, a little bit of extra tankability on Spectre goes quite a long way here, so I do like that idea, because ultimately, this game is going to boil down to, can you kill the saves on BetBoom for Talon? I don't think you're going to start the fight by killing Tide or by killing Sven, and that's how you break it open. I think you have to play angles, you have to find support kills, you have to find the dazzle, and that Haunt will indeed be a really nice tool for it, especially because you have so insane follow-through, right? If Windranger ultimately gets a Blink Dagger of some kind, or maybe you get a dagger on, we've even seen daggers on AAs, right? Just connect and just blast this one person. That could be an idea.
That's kind of a crazy play. I like seeing that. It would be neat. Ollie's needing to get away from this before it kills him, and it will be Makoto.
Okay. So Gale Force. It's actually quite interesting synergy between that and Ice Vortex, right? Like, you're trying to walk out of the Vortex, and you keep getting pulled in and slow.
That sounds horrible.
It's actually very strong if you place these spells well relative to each other. Yeah, a true feels good shard. You don't really want to buy it on a core Windranger most of the time, but you definitely are going to be happy to find it. And I think with the options available there, I think the Windranger one is better than the Earth Spirit one this game, so Talon should probably be pretty happy with what they found there.
Well, BetBoom, even though they have only managed to blow up a 5K gold lead, it does kind of feel like they're giving Talon the hug of death right now. All of those outer towers are down.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary to leave the base, and now with the smoke up as 4, they're going to try and find Spectre. Radiant scan is just a little bit early from where the movement is on BetBoom. As they go for the wrap, Makoto is up there also, underneath his own ward, feeling somewhat safe.
Yeah, Talon have a pretty good understanding of what's happening right now, though. They evacuate and go down bottom. They have Q out here to break a smoke potentially on the Earth Spirit. He could just BKB roll away, possibly. So yeah, BetBoom not going to find what they were looking for.
Is Makoto going for a snipe? I think he's going to try and snipe. There's no way he can go for that Sven. Surely.
The Sven is just completely off the table.
Yeah.
He has 4,000 health and Warcrack. He cannot kill him. But, I mean, honestly, that's kind of an interesting thing to talk about as well, is who can Makoto kill?
Yeah.
Because Windranger is one of these awkward heroes that it's like a single target assassin ranged hero from mid that really needs to get value out of focus fire. It feels so bad when there's no good.
What?
Okay.
Listen, that creep camp had it coming, okay? They're feeling pretty good about themselves. Pure, just making sure it's working.
Pure is just farming kick Ws, I think. So this game was getting a little bit too calm for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's be real. He's not going to be doing anything with it for a little while anyways. Like, BetBoom are just kind of chilling at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, as far as wasting Ravage goes, that's one of the more harmless ones, right? And the good news is now that he's done it once, he's not going to do it again. So
Surely.
it will not happen later when it matters the most. Later on when he misses it, it was deliberate.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Midas is starting to kick in, level 18 on Q. Our Ancient Apparition also level 18 and almost at a Hex. It doesn't seem fair. And like poor old Venge here, just sitting at 8,000 net worth, hoping to get towards an Aghanim Scepter at some point. Toronto Tokyo is broke as a joke.
Yeah, the good news for him is Venge, I think, overall late game impact per net worth as a support, it doesn't get much, you don't get much more value than this hero. You have a great aura, you have minus armor and damage, you have swap, which is one of the best utility spells in the whole game. So if he manages to get to this Ags, even if he's like 4,000 net worth behind on Earth Spirit or on AA, I think he can have still insane impact. Now you could argue that with how this map has been played for the last 15 minutes, he could have farmed more. And I think it's something I've seen multiple teams where that would be my main critique, is that when the game is in this awkward lull, you really want to farm out most multiple heroes, and perhaps Toronto Toki could have identified this a little bit earlier and had another 1,000 gold to his name, and then, you know, then you almost have that axe. Instead, now you have to wait quite a bit.
So you're saying you should have bought Midas?
I mean, one of the options is to buy Midas.
Yeah.
The other option is to play a little more greedy. And I understand that, you know, you saw how the first 15, 20 minutes went, right? Talon are very active with their heroes and they can do a lot, but just the trajectory in the last 10 to 15, at some point you must just be like, okay, you know, I'm probably safe to farm for a bit. I don't have to sit behind my course to save them all the time. Especially when you had the Aegis on Dazzle that you did not want to use offensively. You didn't even need to protect him, right? So you could have probably farmed close to something else. But anyway.
We'll see now if they decide to make a move, as Talon hit a lot of big item timings.
Now this is a good one. The Enchant Remnant for Earth Spirit. Obviously pretty short cast range. Doesn't have the Aether Lens. It's 500 on allies.
Oh, they're going to be right next to him, though. As they step forward, they see that Dazzle is there, but BetBoom, they back away to their safe spot. And yeah, apparently 11 minutes fastest than the faster record for the AA Sheepstick.
Don't you make fun of my tongue twister error.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, what did I say now? Yeah, it's an early hex for sure. The challenge for Ollie is still, you know, it's one of those things where AA is kind of in an awkward spot in some fights where you want to stand far enough back that you get a big Ice Blast if you don't have the dagger build, right? You want to make sure your Ice Blast connects, but in that case, how do you hit your other spells? Because you want the range. And then when you get closer and you can use your Hex, that's when you're vulnerable to just getting blasted one hit, because you don't have, the only save you have is the Glimmer Cape, right? So, yeah, it's obviously a great Hex timing. I wonder how he's going to use it. Like, who's your Hex target? You're not going to Hex Tide. You are probably not going to Hex the Dazzle, who has Linken's and Avenge behind. And Sven, maybe? I mean... Maybe
post BKB. That's going to be Ollie's best chance at it, but you might die before then anyways. The way that this fight's going, he needs to stay really far back.
We've definitely seen some other builds from AAs, right, to try to find that impact. I mentioned the dagger, but you could. I think we saw yesterday somebody almost reaching a refresher, which I also think would be really interesting this game.
Yeah.
Could have bought an Aeon Disc if he was worried about getting jumped, but obviously he's really trusting in his own positioning, which has been stellar so far this game.
Well, it's easy to have good positioning if you never fight anybody.
That's true. I mean, you say that, but you also need to not get caught around them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fair enough. Well, next Roche is going to spawn, and this one has a relatively quick timer again. It's going to be down bottom for a while. We'll see if Talon are going to be in a position to come and contest that, as Aghanim Scepter in Roche's hand.
With the butter on 23, this Sven MKB obviously important. We were talking about this is a potential build path for Spec. Allows Nightfall to get that double dip value from the MKB against the Spectre as well as the Wind Ranger. So as long as Nightfall can get on a target, I think he can kill them pretty fast, even the cores. And Talon needs to be very wary of Sven's initiation angles.
Ooh, and they're backing out Talon in a position. I don't BetBoom know they're here. Do they, if they see that Roche is up, you kind of wonder if they might just try and sneak it away. I mean, it's a crazy move to do that. They see that it's in there.
What if you bait your Weaver? Oh. And then you enchant Remnant him, kick him away, and then he can, you know, play the fight.
Chance. Nightfall walks high ground. They see him right at the start. They're going to blow him up. They get everything off. The grave is going to be there, but can they break the TP? Nightfall manages to get out. He is gone. Well, we said you couldn't kill the Sven if he just stands there. You do. A run through, triple kill for 23. Waiting the whole fight, and it was perfect.
Sometimes you just wait 10 minutes, and then you just get it just right, you know? Just perfect. And this is the problem that Sven will always have against AA. It's a satanic carry that, in a lot of situations there, you get graved by Dazzle, you pop all your stuff, and you heal to full. It's just not an option. Tries to panic TP out. This is genuinely an impossible play, but yeah, they were not expecting this vision.
Oh yeah, the wards win games, and that's definitely an instance where it happened. Nightfall even trying to TP out, but was just not meant to be. Ooh, man, that really opens things up now. Talon, this is where they thrive. 40 minutes, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah, it is a bit of a... this was a first pick AA, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
They
after
picked
the
it.
Dazzle.
So BetBoom willingly picked their Sven into this, and you always need to consider, if you're playing Satanic carries that are very much reliant on that, you either need to have a reliable way of finding and killing the AA, or maybe you would have been better off picking, say, an illusion-based carry or something like this, right? Because Sven really has this... There's this one asterisk to him, despite being so strong. Sometimes he's susceptibly... Like, he's just surprisingly weak. You're just susceptible to specific things in this late game, and Ice Blast is one of those. Okay, Shackle.
And GPK, he's found the Mindbreaker. It is devastating. Man. Marvelous play from 23 and Makoto. It's just too easy.
Yeah, this is going south really fast for BetBoom. They lost like 15,000 gold in 3 minutes, so... And that's against a late-game Talon team. We know how that one usually ends, and except against Team Liquid. Yeah, this is looking really, really good for them all of a sudden. That mentor will be taken.
They have to lick their wounds somehow. Nightfall will get himself a shard. But yeah, I mean, now getting the Aghanim Scepter for free onto Spectre, so you have Haunt available, you can play around that. It makes all of these fights that much more difficult, like we were talking about. Like, you can find save now in these instances.
Yeah, the fights are actually just exceptionally difficult for BetBoom, because if you look at the composition that they have, Dazzle's a hero that doesn't burst, right? This hero just doesn't do that. So it takes time to build up a fight that Dazzle can win, and that is the direct opposite story of how Sven plays fights. He wants to jump and kill someone fast and go from there. Essentially what this means is if Talon get vision and they have any idea what Sven is doing, they're actually just probably not dying, right?
Yeah.
If his dagger gets canceled by a Haunt, or if they connect anything on him that can lead into an Ice Blast, it's just such a... It always feels nice to play late game Dota when you have a clear path to victory. Like when you have this, you can make this game plan for your team where you know, okay, these are the conditions that need to be met. Because late game Dota, a lot of the time, it's really, really hard, right? So being able to simplify a strategy like this, it has got to be so nice for 23. I'm sure their communication is just, all right, if we see Sven, we're good. You know?
Well, and I think back, you know, you're talking about how easy and simple this is for Talon. Earlier today, we saw BetBoom play very simple drafts around Lunas against Vivo Keydstars, trying to be aggressive with Terrorblades, pushing objectives when they could. And in this game, it didn't feel like it was the same sense of urgency. There was that willingness to go late game, and BetBoom now, in the rewards of that, we'll see how they're able to deal with the next couple of minutes. As Pure... I was wondering if they're going to go. I guess that's what you're talking about again. They got to wait for the Sven.
Yeah, I think the worst possible entry into a fight for Talon is going on Tide, who then gets swamped. I think that is the worst possible thing that can happen. So just don't
do that.
Yeah. Just if Tide is the only one offering himself up, no, we'll play the rest of the map. Chill.
That was the pub side of me coming out. It's like, Tide's there. We can kill him, right? Let's go, guys. But not opting to go for it, and instead Makoto going to take the tier 2 tower down bottom.
Yeah, that's gone. Some serious damage starting to come out of Wind Ranger too. We talked about earlier, okay, who can you really kill? But this hero does reach critical mass at some point where the Shackle Shot is enough time to find kills on a hero like Dazzle potentially, or at least the Vanish, or the Save Muerta, who has been very quiet the last 15 minutes, right? Some 6 shots early on, but hasn't really been bringing that much to the table as of late. He is trying to become a core, though, right?
Right.
So
that's kind of the question mark here, is if Muerta can just be left free to get towards those items. You've already got Mjolnir, you got BKB, trying to get towards MKB next. That could be a problem here to deal with, particularly if, you know, everything is used and expended to try and kill off the Sven.
Yeah. You are still, as this Muerta, very much dependent on your BKB, because the amount of just random magical damage in the fight is going to be too much during your ult. I don't think you're safe to fight if you ulti, because there's just too many things that can kill you off. But during BKB, you can have some serious impact. I think the dream for him is obviously to try to kill supports. Open up the fight. Kind of the name of the game for both teams here. As the items keep...
That's the Hex reveal.
And
jumps. How much can they do to Q? He pops the BKB, rolls away, and now 23 Savage, he decides to go in.
He sees the Sven, so you know what the drill is.
Nightfall, Ice Blast, it's a good one! No, not quite gonna connect, now they have to back out.
That is Caster's Curse of Ivory.
Gale Force, Ravage, got him. They have an Enchant Remnant still if they want to get in range, and they do it! Nice play by Q, but it's not going to matter. He does not have enough to kick him out after. Makoto tries to TP, but they got way too much damage. The fight was not the way Talon wanted it, and they're going to end up losing 3.
Yeah, they get the vision on the Sven. They open with the Spectre, but there's no follow-through, right? Nobody was close except Earth Spirit, who could not re-engage after the DKB was wearing off. So 23 essentially just offering up himself and giving BetBoom a nice opportunity to punish. When that Ice Blast misses, Sven's just like, all right, it's go time, you know? That's what Nightfall's waiting for. If that does not connect, as much as we've talked about this hero having problems against it, well, what if it doesn't hit?
Oh no, and what if they go high ground and you don't have any answers on the side of Talon? I mean, this is going to be a glyph used, but you can see already Jabs trying to cut the creep wave. But Meteor Hammer down, GPK stepping up front and center. They don't have Spectre for 50 seconds. BetBoom, they've already taken all the tier 2s. They're thinking about going for the tier 4s. BetBoom, off of one good fight. What's going to be the answer here? Talon, they're not buying back on any of their heroes yet. Still 30 seconds until Spectre. The other 2 have them. Buyback on one, that's the Earth Spirit. Jab's gonna time lapse back to get away. Now going for some more right clicks. BetBoom, you have to make a decision. Are you in, are you out? Gonna risk it, are you going for the all-in play? They haven't bought back on the rest of them. That's another tier 4 tower going down. The jump forward, the stun, he's gone! Weaver already out, but now focusing. They don't have creeps. Jabs cut the creep wave, they're hitting it, but there's nothing happening. BetBoom, where are your creeps? As they chase, they hunt, Nightfall is gonna fall. And now looking for more, Spectre's about to come back up. BetBoom have to get away. The hunt is there. If BetBoom knew about the creeps, they could have done it. But instead, it's Talon that stand tall.
Man, that is such a crucial little detail from Jabs there, right? As you pointed out, he went in, did some damage and time-lapsed out. He killed the last 2 melee creeps in the base, range creeps. So he went all out. He knew, okay, I've already cut the next mid-wave, so if I kill these 2 creeps, we buy enough time that the backdoor protection will kick in on the Ancient. So yeah, Talon, hang on, but now how much can you get the other way, right?
Right.
You spent 2 buybacks on cores here for Talon, and BetBoom have all theirs.
Well, 50 seconds without the Sven, and they're hitting this
He just BKB'd nothing.
That?
He wanted to Manta, a little bit of a misclick there.
Yeah, fat fingers coming out from 23 Savage. But, I mean, here's the problem, too, now. BetBoom, they have a clear path to the Ancient. There is no glyph.
Yep.
This is scary territory for Talon. I mean, and for BetBoom, my God.
I mean, this is just some scary late game Dota now, but one of the most important things when you get to this stage is who has buyback.
Right.
Always got to look at that situation. The Tide one was used on Pure, but if he is the one being offered up in these situations, as we've talked about with the saves behind, I think he's relatively clear to survive the initial burst of the fight. And as far as Talon goes, both Makoto and Jabs without buybacks is huge, but at the very least, one of them will get a second life here. Looks like that will be gifted to Makoto. I suppose Jabs might take the cheese. The Aghanim Scepter, is it going to be the Weaver one? We talked about it as an option. He must be mulling it over right now. He will.
He's going to take it. Okay. I mean, think about that last fight mid where they lost 23 Savage. If he gets time-lapse there, great, they're good to go.
They have the most insane saves in Dota, right? They have Enchant Remnant and Weaver Ags.
And this is a Weaver Ags also that has a Swift Blink, because why not?
Yep.
Look at this. They scan. They know that they're coming in. They're trying to bait him out. They got him hexed. They got him controlled, but the time-lapse, he didn't get it! He didn't get it off in time.
He has buyback, though.
The Haunt comes back in. Q trying to roll away. The control there on the Nightfall. Can they bring him down? They will! Makoto, focus fires one. Now on to save. Trying to find the backlines. They get GPK. Didn't get anything off. Toronto Tokyo is dead. They're going to also lose the Muerta. That is 4 dead. Muerta the only one without buyback, and back down the lanes they go. Pure. Just please leave me alone. I don't want to be here anymore.
All right. If he stays here for another 4 minutes 30, he will get an abandon.
Okay.
All right. We're good. He got out in time.
Thank goodness for that one. Well.
Oh boy. Well, Sven does have the buyback. They don't have it on Muerta, and this will be forced out. But again, now another key buyback for BetBoom was forced out on the Spectre, right? So now there's another hero that they could potentially kill. And a lot of the time in old school Dota, late game Spectre was so good because of this exact play. You're so hard to kill, you die on essentially on purpose to just give yourselves a really good fight. Because if BetBoom wants to kill 23, they have to pop all their stuff to get the first kill. He buybacks haunts in his vision of everyone, the team collapse on them, and you can't kill him a second time. But that's not going to be the case anymore if BetBoom stay in this, which it looks like they will.
Just thinking about what could have been again for BetBoom, that opportunity that they had, and Jabs playing a clutch role to make sure that he was able to get there in time to kill off the creeps.
Oh, this is a big item now too on 23. He gets the refresher orb, so can just haunt back to back without committing, can just force cooldowns defensively out of BetBoom, gives so much vision. This is looking really good for Talon now. Honestly, the only thing that could truly go wrong for them right now is if BetBoom pull off a smoke play before buybacks come back. If buybacks return to the side of Talon, it is so stupidly difficult for BetBoom to still win this game. So I think their mindset right now should be, all right, we know what Heroes don't have buyback. It's kind of a YOLO moment at this point. Like, if you play not to lose this game, you will lose. You got to play for the
on BetBoom, you're talking.
Yeah, they have to take a risk here. I don't think slowing the game down now and being like, okay, we'll let both teams wait for buybacks. I think you're giving Talon way too much of an opportunity, and they will go.
Think about it.
No, they won't. Just kidding. It was just a shadow step.
And of course, that is back up in 12 seconds. A little bit more than that, but very, very soon. I mean, they're sitting back. They're sitting pretty on BetBoom. They only have that one more racks along the top side of the map. And I guess there is some logic also to the idea. You can understand the temptation to be like, all we need to do is one big fight, so let's take the perfect fight, and then we can win the game by running down mid. The problem, as you pointed out, is the buyback status.
When the buybacks come back, I think the perfect fight doesn't really exist anymore. That's the problem. Because your lineup, the way it's tailored, it's really good at killing heroes the first time, but they can't do it the second time. Tide is far away from Refresher. When Sven has used all his stuff, what are you really bringing to the table? Sure, he has a Refresher for a second round, but he has to be able to inventory manage and not get caught, so he's able to get it off after he pops everything and jumps in. If there's any sort of counterplay that messes him up, that's going to be a problem.
He's dead in the water.
Yeah, so... And even if you do get the Refresher off, that doesn't guarantee a good fight. If you're Ice Blasted, you're still going to die. So many maybes here for BetBoom. Talon wants to try to lead the charge. Aegis for another 50 seconds. That might be what BetBoom are waiting for. When that runs out, perhaps you're looking at initiating the fight. The problem is the sweet spot here. Windranger's buyback is 2 minutes, and the Aegis is 45 seconds. So your window of opportunity is extremely small.
It's coming up right now, though, and already they jump. The Venge is there to swap it, now throw out the stun, but dead for 100 seconds. Still has that illusion playing around.
Oh, that's a good shackle!
Caught, but they connect. They got him caught. Nightfall has to back out. Don't have another Ice Blast yet. Nightfall retreats. They're able to hold out. I mean, again, losing the Venge is devastating, but they could have lost so much more there.
Yeah. Has to swap instantly. The Tide is not completely safe. As we talked about, he's not going to die in the burst. He will be able to be saved by the swap, but obviously you're offering yourself up at that point. Venge has no escape plan.
And this is that window that you're talking about. The Aegis is about to expire. Venge is dead for it now.
Yeah, you can't. Now you can't go for the aggressive play anyway. Venge is too important for this to be an option. So Talon effectively have bought themselves buyback on Windranger with this aggressive move. And that should also mean that the Weaver will have his. They have basically on the same timer. Not enough gold right now, but actually, never mind. He'll get it in a second on the Weaver. So Jabs as well as Mikoto with those second lives. Only 23 now. 3-minute cooldown on his. Well, you know, on the side of BetBoom, Pure will have in a minute and a half. And 3 minutes on GPK. So, yeah, I gotta say it again. Advantage Talon right now.
Pure has Refresher now done. So a big other item.
Oh, it's waiting there.
Yeah, it's off to the side.
Okay, he's flying it through them now with the barrier. Actually.
Oh, that was close. 23 jumps on Pure, backs away. Grave is there. Blink back GPK. He's fine. They're able to reset Haunt down. That was very close.
Yeah, maybe his mindset was that we can jump on the Tide because there's no bench to save, but not the case.
I feel like you got to go now if you're BetBoom. You just saw Haunt. There's Refresher use BKBs.
This is a good opportunity, absolutely.
There's also a ward in their base, though, scouting out a lot of these movements. And they will get together. calling pushes out a wave, and there's the smoke up as 5. Weaver running in. One of the better heroes to break a smoke. Steps forward. Weaver still running through a dangerous area. God, he's so hard to kill. He's just blinking away after Sakuchi.
Yeah. Honestly, all of Talon's heroes are hard to kill. There's no easy target in this game anymore. AA has Lincoln's A on disc.
What the
You know? So that's the 5 has that. Earth Spirit has 4,000 health and a Trickster Cloak. Windranger has 3,000 health and the Lincolns. Weaver has 3,000 health, Lincolns, and BKB.
I mean, they're terrified right now on BetBoom.
It's hard, man.
With good reason, right? I mean, this again was a smoke as 5 to go to the Ancients on the side of the map, and now retake a little bit of vision. They are going to take over this area as we get close to 60-minute items. So at least should be able to farm some of those, potentially.
Yeah, that's a big question mark here. Is Talon going to let them? I think from Talon's perspective with their buyback status, the Spectre one is coming up basically at the perfect time. He's 50 seconds away from having his, and then you could just smoke in and contest all the Ancient camps.
Well, they are definitely in position to do just that. Venge is the furthest one out. They do have vision up on that high ground, at least for now. And they're going to retake over their own base, it looks like. Push out the top wave if they can. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, this game is so hard at this point for BetBoom. And if you separate for a moment, you know, a random haunt, if anybody's on top of you, you're just dead. Ice Blast is there too. Has the level 25 talent for the kill threshold. So as we eclipse 60 minutes, a Radiant scan on the Ancients reveals that nobody is there. 23 Savage is going to go farm up some himself.
Yeah, this is very, very clearly tailored by Talon, right? They're going to make this smoke so they connect there at around 60 minutes in. Spectre is covering their side, so they just want to grab all the tier 5s, and then maybe they're just going to push, you know?
Yeah.
Like that advantage, if you convert that to net worth, is pretty ridiculous. At the very least for BetBoom, they find 1 token here for their Sven, but that's the only camp they have access to is that 1. He's not by selecting just yet.
Where the Midas is at. Oh no, Muerta got rid of hers. Oh, that's so sad. This would have been the perfect time.
Yep.
Oh, man.
23 Savage actually choosing the Book of Shadows on
Whoa.
Spectre. That is quite unusual. Mostly we see support and utility heroes selecting this one. But gives him an extra line of defense for himself, of course.
Yeah.
What else did we see come out? So we have the Ex Machina on Weaver. Seer Stone on Earth Spirit. And, yep, the Sven has opted for Mirror Shield here.
Okay.
For Nightfall.
They're going to claim the rest of them. Meanwhile, Spectre, Nullifier is the option, so these Aeon Discs not working the way they would hope, as the next Roche is up, and Talon coming down south to claim that one for themselves. In terms of Aghanim Scepters, it's only the AA, actually.
Yeah, so that's an easy choice. It's going to give him an axe that he probably isn't going to use for anything. But hey, I mean, actually, I think, yeah, I was just going to say, his axe is so unimportant in this game that you use it on Earth Spirit and you sell the one you have.
Oh my god.
So Earth Spirit just got either 2k gold or he just has the stats from his axe. I think it's just going to sell it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. That's a rare sight. When's the last time you've seen someone sell Aghanim Scepter?
That is the sad support. So sad.
I mean, it's just this AA Aghanims is, in reality, is only good on core, right? It's just, he's not using Chilling Touch in the fight. He's casting his spells and backing off, so it's kind of more or less useless. So, yeah.
Well, in the meantime, we did get more tier 5 items for BetBoom. Talon did not make that big push that we were anticipating.
Yep.
They got a Pirate Hat on save, which is pretty freaking good. Digging up those bounty runes to try and equalize the net worth a little bit. It's going to take a while. And of course, as we can see, a tier 5 item, Giant's Ring for Pure.
Oh, that's a big tide. Oh my god, he's big in mid. Look at that.
I feel like it's deceiving, though, because he's not that tanky. He will still die very quickly. The Ice Blast is more likely to hit him now.
Yeah, if only.
Well, waiting on Toronto Tokyo's item choice. And in the meantime, too, we did see AA go for the Book of the Dead.
Yep.
And a Book of the Dead for Venge, too.
Yeah. Should not underestimate, by the way, in this game, Talon are running double Ex Machina, and everybody obviously on that item focuses on the cooldown refreshing aspect of it, but 20 armor against these dire heroes is no joke.
And that's all the plus armor that Wind Ranger has.
Yep. So it's like a huge EHP increase against Sven, against the Venge minus armor, against Dazzle's spam. It really makes a big difference. All buybacks available. Okay. Well,
we're going to see some shit here, man.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think either team does either. But, oh, okay. Bit of damage.
Yeah, Book of the Dead.
Emphasis on bit. Okay, here we get a little bit of commitment.
Makoto stun. No! The Gale Force! You can't hit him! Oh, that's
Whoa,
a wait a minute! Spectre! 23 Savage! Excuse me? What? Not how they drew it up. I'll say that. Not how they drew it up. Well, he has buyback.
Well, you did say 23 Savage fat-fingered earlier.
Yes.
Maybe that time it was the whole face across the keyboard and not the hand. I don't know, man. He just jumped in 1v5, and maybe he misclicked and wanted to just get vision and then jump out, like he was trying to either break smokes or just cause confusion. But I think the only one he confused was himself. Maybe his teammates, too, actually were a little bit lost in that one. But
that was a tough one. That was a very tough one. And
fortunately for Talon, they cannot push here, right? So,
well, right.
Just a death. I mean, it's a level 30 Spectre death. I'm not going to pretend it's nothing, but...
About 4,000 gold, a lot of experience, and if they can manage to force out a buyback, it would be huge. As BetBoom is smoked together, keep in mind, Pure at the ready with that refresher. DD, Nightfall. Who needs God's strength? Oh, he is strong. All it would take was a swipe or two, and whoever he's hitting is going to be in the dirt. They jump in, they find one, Ollie, they got him caught, but the Hex, the turn, got him under control, finding Q, the jump through, Toronto Tokyo starts the ball, 23 Savage is in. After that buyback, he's gonna try and retreat. Pure is absolutely ripped through, Dazzle gone, and Nightfall just trying to back out, doesn't have anywhere to go at all. Q right on top of him, Swap to try and escape. Nightfall still managing to just barely get out of there, the silence, running, hiding, get out of there, buddy, Nightfall, but right on top of his jabs. They bring down the Sven, and in the end, Talon just a bit too strong.
Yeah, I think BetBoom were not expecting Talon to try to make an aggressive move with their Spectre dead, right? They know Spectre has buyback. They probably know it's a possibility, but might have just thought, like, why would they do this, right? Why not just wait until Spectre is alive and then go? But Talon go for this play that, in reality, if 23 somehow would have died there, that could have been game-losing, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was not a risk they had to take, but they felt very confident that they had the information that they needed, and they got a lot out of it.
It still could be game-losing, depending upon what happens in the next couple of minutes. Looking for Makoto. Oh, the Lincoln Sphere popped. Was looking for the swap. Didn't quite get it, though. They reapplied with a little bit of help from their friends, throwing out these Books of the Dead. Pure steps in, BKB, focus fire one. Do they have enough to take him down? Makoto not quite gonna get it, but the jump in, they find this Earth Spirit. Ravage out, now trying to hit him. Aeon Disc proc, the swap back, gets him in, jabs, finding the backline onto GPK, tries to run away. Time lapse to get out of there.
They got the Sven buyback, that's what they wanted.
And now they get out. Talon, perfectly executed.
They poke and prod, and eventually, under so high pressure, it is so difficult to just keep holding the buyback on Sven, right? And eventually he does cave in and go for it, but gets nothing out of it. Pops his ult, has nobody to hit. Now, well, we've talked about the Spectre being a potential risk here for Talon if he does die. There's a lot of risks on the Dire now. The buybacks are not looking healthy on the side of BetBoom. You have none.
And so this is the question that I have in like these late game scenarios. You're sort of in a dual situation with Talon, where on the one hand, if you push and you take advantage and you win a fight, obviously you just win the game. But also, they're under no pressure to try and end either, right?
Right.
Do you think it's worth it to attempt like a smoke play, running in there, finding kills, or is it better just to sit back?
I think considering the buyback advantage that you have right now, you can try to go for skirmishes that don't immediately involve the Spectre. Like, see if you can get good conditions for a fight, and then you pounce on it if you see it, and if you don't, you just poke and prod, and if nothing comes out of it, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
I think just sitting back and farming isn't
I mean, there's nothing more to farm for.
bad necessarily, but it's not really improving your chances of winning by a meaningful amount. I think poking these barracks with Ex Machina, BKB, and Focus Fire is probably the way to go. There's no glyph.
Pop one.
Oh, they kicked him in.
Out.
That's a big statue.
That's what they needed. Catching onto Pure. Down low, but the swap, long range. Pure tries to back out. Does he have anything else left in the tank? The Ice Blast is there, but Pure lives through it all. It is going to be Toronto Tokyo going down, but no, Makoto jumps in, takes down the big old watermelon, and BetBoom now on the back foot. No heroes really left with buybacks at this stage of the game. Magnetize is going to do some damage, but this is Mega Creeps. Talon take dominant control, up 50,000 net worth at 68 minutes.
And they know for a fact there's no buybacks here. So they know they just need to keep calm. It's a 5-on-3. Wait for the right opportunity to get a jump with Earth Spirit probably here. Q is being glimmered up. He's trying to find an angle. And he might just go for this one.
23 Savage just sitting in fountain, jump forward, jabs, can't hit onto a target at all, save, jumps in, pierce the veil, tries to bring him down, but Aeon Disc, there's nothing there. 23 Savage throws out one salvo of abilities, and as they are not able to grant purchase, it is just going to be waiting for God's strength to wear out.
Actually surprised they didn't commit their Talon, given the circumstances. I feel like that was game over. Sven popped everything, didn't really connect on anyone. You had the Ice Blast fly over 2 heroes, including the Sven, so he was clip fight, so he couldn't heal. They did not fancy their chances there to just finish it off. Looks like they're still just going to go now. Round 2, though, with the bigger creeps coming in.
They're doing it.
The dead.
This is really hard to deal with. Tier 4 towers are falling. GPK, he gets jumped on. Can he survive through this? No. They take down the Dazzle. They're going to take down more. Nightfall, nowhere left to go. And GG is called Talon. They managed to eke one away.